you become such a powerful, powerful creator. You're no longer just like manifesting a thing here or there. You're consciously creating your entire life, your entire reality. And in doing so, you're reaching such a higher potential for yourself. What's up? What's going on? My name is Sabrina and welcome back to the channel. Here in the Better You community, we talk about all things self-growth and spirituality. And in today's video, I feel called to talk about how self-concept shifts your reality so fast. If you like what you hear today, don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up to help out the channel. Feel free to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified every time I post a new video. Let me know in the comments what you liked about this, and let's get into it. So I've recently been introduced to the whole self-concept realm by one of our best friends, Rosa, and have been getting super in this topic, and I think more people need to know about it because it really is really powerful. And I've never seen manifestation work this fast in my life. Because I'm telling you, it was 2 days after I started to take this self-concept stuff seriously, where I got almost $2,000 of random checks in the mail that I wasn't even supposed to get. And I've seen many other manifestations come into my life really friggin' fast from this work. So let's talk about how this shifts your reality so fast. Now, if you're not that familiar with self-concept, it's basically the idea of changing the way that you perceive yourself and changing the way that you perceive your life and the world and others around you. And it's basically like changing like the lens of what you see life out of. Now, where most people have gone wrong in the manifestation process or can get really caught up in not seeing results in the manifestation process without utilizing self-concept is like, I feel like a lot of people, and I did this for the longest time too, so like, I get it, but a lot of people will like say their affirmations in the morning, right? Like they're manifesting, they're journaling, they're doing whatever, and then they go about their day and they kind of like fall back into their old ways of being. They go into work and they talk about like the same low stuff that everybody's talking about, like, oh, like work sucks, money sucks, I'm broke, blah, blah, blah. And they go right back into their old ways of being. And like, yeah, they did like the quote unquote manifestation work in the morning, but when you really understand the science behind how we create our realities with our minds, you'll know that simply speaking affirmations in the morning, it'll help. It might get you some things sometimes somewhere, but it's not going to give you the full effect. You're not going to drastically shift your life. You're not going to quantum leap. And therefore, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not really seeing many things happen for me. And they kind of like put the conscious creation of their life like to the side and not take this stuff as seriously. But what I really want for you guys, okay? Like the people in this community, in the Better You community, I really want you guys to not only know like how to manifest, but really like live and breathe this stuff. Because when you do, it's like you become such a powerful, powerful creator. You're no longer just like manifesting a thing here or there. You're consciously creating your entire life, your entire reality. And in doing so, you're reaching such a higher potential for yourself and you're making such a more massive positive effect on the world around you, ripple effects into everyone else's lives. And so I really want my audience and the people listening to this video to really like live and breathe the practices of manifestation, the practices of creating your reality. Because when you do, it's like when you start to see the results that you can get from just being more mindful and being more observant of what's going on internally, because our internal state creates our external. When you do that and start to see the results, it's like you can't help but to keep doing it, because why not create all of these amazing things in your life just because you can? Just because you can, you have the ability. You're such a creator. You're here to create. Because as we know with the studies of quantum physics, of how we create our reality, and the government has a whole document on this too, we know that on a microscopic level, everything is made up of atoms, right? You know, basic science. These atoms are all vibrating at different frequencies. In the atoms, the electrons exist as potential waveform, and it's not until an observer, a state of consciousness, a human being, puts their awareness onto these atoms is when these potential waveforms collapse into physical form. Now, the way that they collapse into physical form is based off of the specific observer's state of consciousness. Now, what is made up of our state of consciousness? Our perceptions, our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, our memories, our behaviors. It's basically like who we are and how we perceive the world to be, is how these different electrons on a molecular level collapse in physical form. So that's why they say, like, the law of assumption, what you expect to be true will be true, because what you expect to see through your filter of your state of consciousness is what is going to manifest into reality, because it's all a filter, it's all a projection. It's like your mind is like the rolling, like projector, and then your life is like the projector screen. So whatever you see in your life is what is held in your state of consciousness. Again, your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, habits, etc. We also know through the study of quantum physics that these atoms only exist of 0.0001% actual physical matter. And the rest of the 99.999% is empty space. And what do we call this empty space? We call this empty space energy. And so what we see with our five senses is literally only 0.000, a bunch of zeros, 1% of what actually exists. The other 99.999% we cannot see, but it exists as energy, as potential energy. And no, we cannot see it with our 3D eyes, but there are many, many, many things that we cannot pick up on with our 3D eyes. Just like we can't see microwaves, the waves from the microwave, heating up the food. We can't see that, but we know it's heating up the food, right? If you look at, and I teach this in our program, Unleash Your Life, but when you look at the visible spectrum of what human beings can see with their 3D eyes, it's like, all the different waveforms, like say that this is like the graph of all the different waveforms, and then what the human eye can see is like a sliver of that, a sliver. We can see a sliver of the energy that exists around us. And when we really know and understand this on like a deep level, a deep like knowing level, not just like knowing it logically and be like, okay, like that's cool, that's interesting, whatever, but really knowing it on like that deep level of like, I know this, that your reality is filtered through your state of consciousness, and because of your state of consciousness, you collapse these atoms into physical form to create your external reality, what you pick up on with your five senses. You understand how powerful of a creator you have the potential to be. But what happens is most of us get so caught up in seeing what's going on in our 3D reality and being reactive to it, which just keeps us in a loop of constantly creating the same like undesirable circumstances. Now, without self-concept, with just like saying the affirmations in the morning or doing the meditation in the morning or doing the hypnosis, whatever, and then you go back to kind of like your old way of being, and you keep flopping back and forth to like affirming you're like this, let's just use money for example, because a lot of people are wanting to manifest money, affirming you're like this rich person, and then going back to like, oh, like I'm broke, I feel broke. Your energetic frequency, your state of consciousness keeps going from one reality to another reality, and then back to this reality, and then back to that reality. So it's like, what are you going to see with what is going to be projected out into your reality? Whatever has more momentum. But with self-concept, since you are working to change the way that you actually perceive yourself in general, changing the way that you perceive the world in your life, you're creating so much more momentum. You're not just like saying some affirmations about like, oh, I make X amount and I am rich and I am wealthy. You're not just kind of like blankly stating these statements. You're like changing the lens of which you view life out of, which is basically like your state of consciousness. You're shifting it at such a higher level. And if you're aware of, if you study NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, the language behind the mind, you'll know that one of the top things that make the biggest change in your life is when you shift your identity, when you shift how you view yourself. When you shift your identity and how you view yourself, you shift and change your thoughts automatically. You automatically shift the way that you feel, because if you view yourself as this really like rich and wealthy person and you have this lens, like you literally perceive everything in life through this lens of I am rich and I am wealthy and I have more than enough money, you're not going to experience those kinds of lack thoughts. The thoughts of like, oh, I'm broke. You're not even going to entertain those thoughts because you're like, no, I'm not. Like I'm viewing my world as I have more than enough. It automatically changes your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your behaviors, your environment. Like everything trickles down from that. It's very similar to when when you're like really happy and like a really good mood, something happened and you're like, literally nothing can bring me down. Like I'm in a bomb ass mood. It can be storming. Somebody could cut me off on the road. Somebody could give me a weird look. I don't care. I don't give an F because I'm in such a great mood. And like everything, you perceive everything in life to like, everything just looks brighter and lighter and happier. And like you just perceive everything to be in a such happier mood and happier vibe and happier life, And then same thing goes for like when you are in a lower emotional state. I remember when I went through a really dark personal time, I would say like a year and a half ago. I can't believe it's been that long already. I call it the purge. It was probably one of the most painful internal experiences that I've ever had in my life. And I've been through some shit. So for weeks after this thing happened with me, I'm not going to get into detail of it because that's not the point of this video, but I was sitting at a really, really low vibrational state. Everything in my world, the lens I was viewing my life out of was dull. It almost felt like there was like white noise around me. It was the same physical environment, but the lens I was seeing things out of was totally different, and I was experiencing life because I was in a different state of consciousness. Everything felt dull, felt like white noise. It felt like meaningless, to be honest. And it was because I had shifted into a different state of consciousness. I shifted the lens, like the glasses that I was viewing life out of. Which, by the way, as I'm talking about like glasses and lens, I want to say that I did make a really cute and lighthearted meditation that makes you view your life in a more lighthearted and playful way. And I want to link it above because it's cute and it's good, and it helps you shift that lens that you see life out of to be more lighthearted, to be more playful, which is a really great energy for manifestation. So anyway, I'll link that above since we're talking about this whole lens thing. But it's just like that. When you change your self-concept, when you change the way you view yourself in your life, you're changing that lens. And so then you're not just telling yourself you have X amount of money in your bank account. You are viewing yourself as wealthy. You are viewing money to come to you very easily. It's not just changing your thoughts and your emotions. It's changing your perceptions. It's changing the way you see. And I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it's a different energy. It's like a higher level of change when you utilize self-concept, when you change your self-talk and change the way you choose to view the world. And as you view yourself to be a different type of person and to experience a different type of life, you are putting your awareness you're collapsing these atoms into a different reality. You're shifting timelines. You're putting your awareness onto a different timeline where you are a different type of person experiencing a different type of reality. And the potential is insane here. There are infinite timelines. There are infinite versions of yourself, versions of your life, versions of your relationships. And you have access to tap into every one of them by shifting the way you view yourself and shifting the way you talk to yourself. And through doing that stuff, you are molding your subconscious, because the more you tell yourself something, the more your mind is accepting it. And we know, like, when you mold your subconscious mind, you mold your state of consciousness, that plays a big part in the conscious creation process. And because of this, because the subconscious work is so important in the manifestation process, I love to pair self-concept with changing your daily self-talk and perceptions with the deeper neurological work, with the deep meditations and the hypnoses. I'm certified in hypnotherapy. I love hypnoses. Like, I'm obsessed. I listen to them all the time myself. What I have found has really worked, for me anyway, is, pairing those things together so that you don't waver back and forth, so that throughout your day, and what I found has been really helpful is like, morning, evening, and night. Set up a routine, get into the habit. It might feel a little forceful at first, but that's okay. Set up a habit of morning, evening, and night 3 times out of your day for at least 5 minutes. dedicate at least 5 minutes to doing something to really sit in that energy, to change your self-concept. Repeat those affirmations, but really work on like feeling the affirmations and like knowing the affirmations to be true. Go on like a rampage of just like speaking your life into existence. I love doing those. Those personally like work really well for me as like the 5D rampages. And then also those other negative thoughts that don't align with what you want to create, those like barely have, energy built up behind them, because you have built up so much momentum in the 5D, in the pure potential reality that you are tapping into because of that. And the more you do this, you'll like, at first it might feel forceful, and then the affirmations will kind of sink into your mind. Your subconscious mind will start to mold, it will start to shift. You'll start to feel what you're thinking to yourself and what you're speaking to yourself more and more. And then eventually you will get to like this knowing state. You'll get to this state of like feeling really at peace. And it's like this godlike knowing state where you just know, what you're speaking, what you're telling yourself, what you're thinking, that this is your reality, that you are living this, that it is here now, or that is coming to you right now. And that is like the sweet spot where it will come at any point in time. But you have to keep redirecting your mind and thoughts throughout the day, because if not, that's not truly integrating. That's not truly aligning to this new timeline that you want to sit into. If your energy is kind of like all over the place throughout the day. So like work on cleaning up your energy, work on cleaning up where your focus is at. And this is how self-concept shifts your reality so fast, is because it takes all of those points where you're wavering into different energetic frequencies, and it like helps to mold your mind to stay primarily, because it's very natural and human to waver into, different thoughts sometimes, but to primarily stay in one energetic frequency so that you can get there at a much faster rate. And I'm about to record a video right after this talking about how to avoid toxic positivity while utilizing self-concept, because that's a whole nother topic that I'm passionate about. And I don't want you to think that like you can't have any type of like negative thoughts or negative emotions, period, in order to shift your reality this fast in this way, because that's where things can get really like toxic. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that. I'm going to release it next week. But with that being said, I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it shifted your perspective and really helped you understand how powerful of a creator you are and how you can become an even more powerful creator. And I hope you not only listen to my words, but really integrate and utilize these teachings in your everyday life. Really live and breathe this stuff. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to help out the channel. Subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified every time I post a new video. Let me know in the comments what you liked about it. Feel free to share this video with a friend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.